Yeah, I watched these shortly after they were released, but not right away. I was actually underwhelmed, guys. I don't. There was a lot of hype around this. I was kind of, meh, it's fine. Watched it again before season two to catch up, and then I watched it with my daughter, which was really fun. Like she was really into the child. She was, oohing and awing over that. So that was the best watching experience with my daughter. And then I watched it again for this, and it's the Mandalorian.
See, I think you waited too long and you probably got spoilers without even realizing it. Just because it became part of the pop culture. I watched this fresh when it came out, and I will tell you, this restored my faith in the Star Wars franchise after mixed opinions about the recent trilogy that came out. So this was different, and I saw it up to the end, through that ending, and that had impact. You already knew Baby Yoda existed. I did not know Baby Yoda existed. So that, or the child, okay, that is a different viewing experience versus seeing everyone with the plush toys and knowing he's coming. So I think if you watched it fresh like I did, you might have had a different experience. But that's just my opinion.
No, yeah, you're probably right.
Oh, my first experience was very much like yours, Nick. I watched it as it came out, like Friday night. It was episode, like it needed to be watched that night. No need to be spoiled or anything. But I do agree with KJ that it only really works if you have an audience to talk about it with. So the idea that he had his daughter that he was able to then kind of talk about, and she was probably excited about certain bits, and he was excited about certain bits, and they could kind of bounce off of each other. So my enjoyment of this, and I agree with you, this really kind of made me believe that Star Wars could be good again. But I think it's also because I had like a dialogue between other Star Wars fans and my wife and myself, and we were able to kind of like build this narrative around it that's even bigger than it really actually was probably. I mean, like for if you're just sitting there on the couch watching it for yourself and you're like, oh, this is kind of Star Wars, I guess, or it's Star Wars adjacent. But for me, it was like, oh, did you see that? Do you remember when that calls back to that thing in that movie three years ago? Like that conversation was what was important to me, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had some whiting while watching it, so it's a
Enough with the fish.
it's a lovely, yeah. It's like 19 grams to 1 gram of fat of protein to fats. It's a very healthy fish. But what I did was I burnt the fish and it set the fire alarm off, and so I had to run out to the back porch and put the pan in which I burnt the fish on the porch in the back so that it wouldn't fill up with smoke and keep the fire alarm going. So it was quite hectic. But I was watching it during my fish eating, and as I usually do, and it was I thought it was pretty entertaining. I also watched it. I watched it recently for this episode. I hadn't seen it before, and I'm not the. I'll just say this is gonna get me stabbed, but I'm not like the biggest Star Wars guy. I'm not quite as invested in this world as it seems like you guys are. So a lot of the callbacks are over my head. I was aware there was a Baby Yoda just because as soon as it came out, everybody was sharing memes of Baby Yoda. And so I assumed that a Star Wars product at one point had produced a Baby Yoda, and apparently this was the product that did it. So I really wasn't surprised there. I also watched it, interestingly, in conjunction with my first viewing of Once Upon a Time in the West. I don't know if anybody's seen that.
No, I've not.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's basically the thing that Quentin Tarantino steals from. So if you like Quentin Tarantino, this is what he's stealing from. But it's a Western that has some of these same tropes that are in The Mandalorian. And so that was a lot of fun to watch them together. I typically watch that movie while eating more salmon because there was more salmon available at the store, which I prefer because of the fish oil. The fish oil is very healthy.
All right, enough with the fish. We're cutting off the fish.